attention to any speeches today. Okay. So I want to begin off by saying a simple question. Why do we say peace is so important in our modern society? I mean, you might think this question is quite simple, but it's actually not. What war does is that it destroys us in everything we believe in. I mean, war is going to take the worst out of the human being, and it's going to make him take this horrible decisions that he wouldn't do never ever. Now, why should we live in a world where violence comes before talking and negotiating? Why can't we just live in peace? These are simple questions that authorities like the government have been asking themselves in order to know what to do. Like, what can we do? What are we doing wrong in here? Is there a possibility of changing this? Well, I have come to a solution by saying that the mistake this modern society has, it's over its educational system in younger populations. We say this because the younger population is the one that's going to be here in this world long after we're gone. And it's going to be the one that decides future decisions. And it's quite important. So what I'm trying to say here is that if we could put things up like moral values, teaching ability to discuss things, and also affects the war in every single school of this world, we could probably make a huge change. But the question is, will this be enough to actually make a change in order to achieve peace? So let's see. The most important education a human being gets is in his early years, and I'm talking about primary school. Several medical researchers have had the result that the early education a human being receives will somehow reflect into the way he thinks, the way he acts, and the way he makes decisions. So I'm saying that if we know this as a government, why shouldn't we use this in order to teach them moral values so in the future they know why it is so important to have a world with peace and be able to make the right decisions without making any mistakes and trying to avoid any future conflicts. Moving on, I would like to talk about discussion. You might be wondering why discussion is so important in something like trying to achieve peace. So discussion, we would say that it is important because let's say you have a conflict that involves physical activity. So why does it have this? Because it's when two people are trying to talk to each other and trying to prove one wrong, but they don't know how to do this anymore, so they try to go into physical aggression. But it's even worse now because in our modern times they skip this and they try to go into physical aggression since the beginning. And I think this is because the lack of education that they have about discussing ideas in order to prove them right. That's why I'm thinking about implementation of forums. Forums in which students can learn how to expose their ideas and then back them up in order to try to prove them wrong and not try to get into any physical aggression. Next up, I said affects the war. You may be wondering sometimes, what happens if two countries have a problem or have a war? How does it affect me? I mean, I'm even from those countries. What is it with me? So you're missing an important fact in here, and is that we are all equal. We are all human beings. So as a race, we should think about war as something that affects us, not just those two countries. So if we say this, we could say that war is something that is killing our own species. And for what? War is happening for something as territory and material things sometimes. So I'm saying, where are the moral values if this is happening? So for this, I would say that every school should have respect for life main idea and treat others like you want to be treated in order to try to prevent future conflicts. So finally, summarizing all of our ideas and answering a question at the beginning of the presentation, will this be enough to change the world and try to actually achieve peace? Well, it certainly will make a change, but this is not going to happen by itself. We need some support from public and private schools, and definitely from the government, which is the one that will make the decisions. And if you really want to change the way our society works in the future, you should totally act fast. Because something we must not forget is that the younger population is the future of this world. So if you want to change the future, you must change them first. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Raoul. That was a really interesting speech you gave. My question is, how can we overcome the differences in Ecuadorian society?
Our common difference in Ecuador, now our society, would be first off by teaching that everyone is equal and there's no one that's superior to someone else. I mean, we should all take into account that we all have the same rights as the law says, and that we shouldn't tell anyone that he's less than us just because of that. So that education should come first from home and from public and private schools, thanks for government implementation. Thank you.